Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
ethics, we've been preparing the talk at the lunch since the announcement by Major General Thomas and the summit open an opportunity for all of us to listen from each other and share the challenges of the world. The summit provides a strong platform where Africa line even this platform also rare opportunity
Last year, I hosted a senior enlisted conference here in Zambia to Sierra, and it was a success.
Among the many distinguished guests with us today, I am honored to welcome Mr. Grace Ticker. Ladies and gentlemen,
Lieutenant General Adeguzwe and Major General Osmond.
thank you. And the Imam for Livingstone, Imam Manda for the invocation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the podium, the Mayor of the city of Livingstone.
Of Livingstone City, and indeed on my own behalf, I'm honored to warmly welcome you all to Livingstone, the tourist capital of Zambia. Distinguished guests, I wish to express my happiness to the organizers of this African Land Forces Summit for choosing Livingstone as the host city. This guest of honor is boosting tourism as businesses are enhanced through the resources that shall be spent during the period of this summit. I'm delighted to note that this summit has brought together land forces commanders from the continents of Africa and other partner nations, together with academic thought leaders and government officials to discuss and develop cooperative solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are familiar with Livingstone will agree with me that our city has a quiet environment that makes it conducive and convenient for serious deliberations like this one you will be having. I can assure you that Livingstone is the best place that will enable you to deliberate and achieve your set objective for the summit. In addition, the city will offer you a great opportunity to relax and enjoy the beautiful scenery after your days of discussions. Guests of honor, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me now invite you to sample the numerous tourist attractions which our city has to offer, including one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, the Victoria Falls. I'm certain that your stay in Livingstone will create your lifetime good memory, and we look forward to your coming back with your families on holiday trips. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not my intention to bore you with a long speech. With these few remarks, please feel at home and enjoy your stay in Livingstone. And on behalf of the people of Livingstone, we love you all. Thank you and God bless.
Staff General Randy George and the Commanding General of the United States Army Europe and Africa, General Darrell Williams, it is my honor to welcome all of you to the 2024 African Land Forces Summit. Before I continue, I do want to just recognize all of the planners, both from Zambia and from the U.S., for putting this together to create all of that has been organized for us to put this together. That's not the scripted remarks, but just please give them a round of applause just for getting off to a great start. This is our 12th time convening this summit, and ALFS grows stronger and stronger every year. We are fortunate this year to have over 300 participants from across the globe, including land force representatives from 39 African countries, hundreds of military officers and senior enlisted leaders, and an esteemed group of policy experts and practitioners here to help guide our discussions during 4 plenary sessions where we will examine the complexities of our shared challenges and to discover their solutions. I also must mention that we are saddened that some of our partners are not able to be here, and the U.S. Army officers, our heartfelt condolences to all of those affected by the tragic loss in Kenya. We also eagerly await the arrival of many of our friends who haven't yet arrived due to delays at airports and other challenges, but they'll arrive later today and tomorrow morning. This ALFS marks a significant occasion. For the first time, we brought ALFS to Zambia, here in the majestic city of Livingstone. The U.S. Army is incredibly grateful for this opportunity to strengthen our ties with this spirited country, and we have received a reception here like none other. Thank you for that. I want to thank the Honorable Ambrose Lufuma, the Zambia Minister of Defense, Lieutenant General Sitali Alabuzwi, the Zambia Army Commander, Her Worship Constance Muriabe, the Mayor of Livingstone, Dr. Mwana Nyanda, the Zambia National Security Advisor, and Mr. David Manima from the Ministry of Defense, and the Honorable Norman Chipahu, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Defense, and the rest of the Zambian Army and the people for your warm hospitality and collaboration leading up to this event. Within the U.S. Army, we have tremendous respect for Zambia's contributions to peace and security in this region and beyond. We are proud to stand by you as co-hosts for ALFS 24. This week we gather amid growing threats to Africa's security and stability. Transnational criminal organizations and violent extremist organizations pose an existential threat to African countries and to African people. Challenges such as human trafficking, mass migration, environmental degradation, and climate change wreak havoc and cause untold human suffering. These issues transcend national borders. They subvert sovereignty, cross jurisdictions, and strain national resources. No country can solve these challenges alone. That's why we are all gathered here to discuss this year's theme, Regional Solutions to Transnational Problems. As military leaders charged with protecting and defending our countries and our people, we all have a role to play. The U.S. Army is proud to work alongside our partners throughout Africa to bolster their ability to respond to these existential threats. This year alone, we have partnered with 38 countries in Africa, world-class units like the 2nd Security Force Assistance Brigade and our Civil Affairs Battalions, having trained more than 500 soldiers from 12 countries that contribute to 5 United Nations missions. Our medical readiness exercises teach life-saving skills and provide life-saving treatments to hundreds of partners and thousands of patients. Exercise Justified Accord in East Africa has been running strong for 26 years. Last month, over 800 soldiers from 21 countries came together to sharpen their readiness for humanitarian assistance, disaster, and crisis response. In June, we will celebrate the 20th edition of Exercise African Lion, the largest security cooperation event on the African continent, where year after year we bolster our collective ability to safeguard regional peace and stability. The 173rd Airborne Brigade, the best in the business, remains trained and ready to respond to crises on the continent that threaten regional security. Ladies and gentlemen, CTAF Africa and the U.S. Army are invested in our African partners for the long haul. We view African countries as equal partners in confronting some of this century's most pressing security challenges. Our enduring investments are designed to create enduring security solutions. It is about understanding your needs. There is no model for regional cooperation that the U.S. Army can provide alone. The solutions to Africa's security challenges are in Africa's hands and lay within African minds. The unique experiences and perspectives of everyone here will sow the seeds for effective change. The task at hand, as we all know, will not be easy. Regional cooperation is incredibly difficult. Credible military force and commitments are only one part of a complex equation. Effective regional approaches require political and financial commitments. They require consensus building and information sharing. This week, we have a venue to build those bridges. And while the challenges are enormous, we have reason to be optimistic. There's a lot of power and a lot of influence assembled in this room. And there is a spirit of solidarity throughout this continent's history that we can all tap into, along with valuable models of regional cooperation that we can draw from. Whether it's Samim or Atmos, we've seen time and time again that Africa's strength lies in its unity. Let's use this summit to strengthen that spirit of solidarity. Let's use our discussions this week as a catalyst for action. Let's engage in open dialogue and forge a path forward based on mutual respect and shared responsibility. Let's leave Livingston with concrete action plans, strengthened partnerships, and a renewed commitment to a more secure Africa. By combining our collective strengths and harnessing the power of regional approaches, we can overcome anything. At the end of the day, the partnerships here will be the cornerstone of our progress. Together with solidarity, resolve, and meaningful collaboration, we can build a future where the people of Africa can thrive. Thank you again for being here. Now let's get to work.
And indeed, on my own behalf, I want to welcome you to Zambia and to our tourist capital, Livingstone in particular. Dear delegates, the next coming days will be busy with deliberations, presentations, engagements, and breakout sessions centered on regional solutions to transnational problems. Allow me, distinguished guests, to thank the Southern African Task Force Africa, command who have worked tirelessly together with the Zambian Army Committee from the time we took over the mantle from Cote d'Ivoire to ensure that the 2024 version of the Africa Land Forces Summit is well organized. To both teams, I say, job well done. Today, our continent's 8 regional economic communities are all faced with different challenges ranging from terrorism, human trafficking, migration and climate change-induced instabilities, and therefore, this distinguished gathering provides a rare but special platform for all of us to listen and learn from each other on how we can have a concomitant responsibility as uniformed people to look for solutions to challenges of a transnational nature. My President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Force, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema usually says, instability anywhere is instability everywhere. And this is very true, and all we need to do is look at the effects of the Russia-Ukraine war on trade and commerce, and the effects of wars on our continent, on development of our continent. Distinguished delegates, your commitment to this summit by way of coming to attend the summit cannot be taken for granted. I urge you all to take advantage and leverage best practices on regional solutions to transnational problems for the betterment of our continent. To Southern African Task Force Africa and the U.S. Army in general, I want to again thank you for choosing Zambia as a co-host for this year's summit. This is a clear testimony of how our partnership has grown from strength to strength. All the support given towards the successful hosting of this summit is highly appreciated. May I also appreciate the distinguished speakers that accepted to come and speak at this summit as guest speakers. Thank you for choosing to share your time and knowledge with us. Dear delegates, Zambia is a peaceful country, and I urge you distinguished delegates to find time to venture out and sample the tourism activities that this beautiful city of Livingstone has to offer. Now is the time to plan for your next holidays with your families in Zambia. Allow me now to call upon the Honorable Minister of Defense for the Republic of Zambia, Honorable Ambrose Virgil Fuma, to deliver his opening speech. The Honorable Minister, sir.
In my conferencing life so far, I've trotted around the globe, but I haven't come across a conference that is so organized, so coordinated, and so disciplined. This is the first. I'm serious about that. You deserve another hand for yourselves. Just before I was coming here, I was discussing with the commanders, saying in conferences, usually when you say good morning, nobody answers. Perhaps maybe fatigue or something, I don't know. But they assured me, no, this group is unique, it's different. They will answer. Then we tested with the mayor, and the first time we were lukewarm. She said, good morning, everybody was still maybe in their own respective countries. She said, good morning again, that's when we heard the voice coming out. So I went to test, and hear if what the commanders were telling me was true. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. That is good. Thank you so much. I am greatly honored to officially open this prestigious and important 12th session of the African Land Forces Summit, which brings together commanders from across our continent, Europe, America, and South America. I learned with a lot of pride from my Army commander, Lieutenant General Sitali Dennis Alibuzi, that Zambia was chosen to host the 2024 edition of the African Land Forces Summit from 21 to 26 April 2024, after Côte d'Ivoire hosted the summit in the year 2023. Dear delegates, this is an important platform, as it gives all of us, all of you as commanders, a chance to learn from one another and share expertise and best practices on current trends on security issues in line with a well-crowned theme, regional solutions to transnational problems. Distinguished delegates, Africa's security challenges originate from different paradigms, such as ethnic, geographical, and cultural values. They are therefore better tackled with African solutions, with the help, of course, from our cooperating partners. Distinguished delegates, allow me, therefore, to pay special tribute to the government of the United States of America, through the United States Army, and specifically the Southern European Africa Task Force, for their relentless effort in organizing these summits since we're back in 2010. For any meaningful economic development to take place anywhere, we need a safe and secure environment, which unfortunately is not always there. It's not always guaranteed due to a lot of conflicts and strife in Africa today. I therefore urge you, our security providers, to continue ensuring that there is peace for any development to take place. Peace is a prerequisite to any progress, any development in any part of this world. It should jealously be guarded. Host and co-host, distinguished delegates, may I thank the organizing committee for a job well done to put up these nice facilities at our disposal. I hope you all traveled safely from your various countries. I wish you a good stay in Zambia, and in particular here in Livingstone, the tourist capital. Please take time off your busy schedule and sample the good Zambian hospitality. You are in Livingstone, which is our tourist capital, and home to the mighty Victoria Falls. As the mayor said, this is one of the seventh wonder of this world. Despite the drought which we have had this year, the falls is still a marvel to look at. You can also sample Livingstone by night. There are nice and crazy nightclubs around here. So please take time off and enjoy Zambian hospitality at nightclubs as well. Please enjoy. As I end, let me urge you all to be open-minded and discuss freely during the deliberations and plenary sessions. God bless you all. Allah guide you, and thank you for your attention.
Delegates feel even more welcome now after your remarks. Another round of applause for the Honorable Minister.
Military leaders, diverse backgrounds, and experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the departure of the official parade. It's on page 3 of your binder. There's a QR code. And for the escort report, there you will receive updates to the now transition to the official photo. So I would ask now Chiefs of Defense, shortly you should have your chart on the screen that will indicate your spot on the stairs. Mr. Bird or Gillette will come forward and help direct. I will also note for our
Southern Province, as well as the Honorable Minister for Tourism, when it is time for the photo to join in the photo shooter.
Thank you very much, colleagues. I think we have held summits in Livingston. We have had different conferences. This is one of its kind. And to the people of Livingston, this means a lot because we are looking at several countries across the African continent and also the United States. It is a booster into the tourism and the economy of Livingston in general. So to us, the Livingston people, this is what we've been crying for. This is our bread and butter. So we are extremely excited, delighted, and honored that we were privileged to host this aside from Lusaka. So we want to showcase our best practices, our hospitality, and our love and kindness to the nation. And indeed, my appeal to everyone is that come to Livingston. Livingston is safe. It's a place to be, not only now, but even in the future.
Just in terms of, just reaffirm the importance of peace like in the city of Livingston being a tourist capital.
Thank you very much. I think our president, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has been preaching about peace. This is what we say when there's peace. It's not because we have military people around the city that people are disciplined. Generally, Livingston is a peaceful city. You can come here, park your car in the center of town, leave it for a week, go to South Africa, you find it intact. We don't know how to break into people's cars here. We don't know how to harass people here. We are friendly, but of course, other people when they come here, they have different feelings to think we are harassing them. No, we want to host you, teach you our language, make you feel at home, and allow you to also sample the many tourist attractions that the city has. I'm sure you heard when the minister said Livingston is the only city, in fact, that offers day and night tourism. Feel free to sample our day tourism, which includes the Victoria Falls, the Sunset Cruises, the Big Five, Mokuni, and our nightlife. We have nightclubs, a lot of things to offer, food, restaurants, African tradition, Chinese, Indian cuisines, and continental cuisines. So feel free to come to Livingston. It is a peaceful city generally.
Thank you so much, Russia.
Is that it?
Well, as the provincial administration, first of all, I want to appreciate the invitation to come and give our view of what is going on here in Southern Province and Livingston. We really want to appreciate the government, cabinet, for approving such events that as a country we start hosting such big events like this one. So we congratulate government, and also we are so grateful that when government brings such events, they always think of Southern Province, Livingston, not by any other reason, but because as a province we are prepared and ready to host such events. So this is so impressive to us. We are very excited about it, and the packaging of the message of the whole program is really exciting us because we have got a lot to learn. So we are so grateful that we are hosting here in Livingston.
Talk about peace, the importance of this magnitude of people that have come in terms of fostering peace.
When we talk of peace, yes, this is one of the products that I think they have, the programs that they have put on the discussion table, that issues of peace, stability needs to be discussed. Those are issues that are affecting the globe, that are affecting the continent, that are affecting the region, and also anywhere in the neighborhood when there is instability. Even us as a country, we cannot work properly. So instability creates another challenge in the economic growth. So there is need for initiatives to discuss such challenges and find solutions to create stability everywhere that affects to the economic well-being of the globe, and that which as a country we are going to benefit. There's also a discussion, as it was highlighted in one of the speeches, that about the climate change issues. So climate change, really we need to focus on that. As a country now, we are grappling with the challenges of the drought situations. There is hunger in the country. how do we focus ourselves or our minds towards resolving that challenge. With instability around, we cannot manage to resolve that kind of a situation. So we are really appreciative that issues of instability, issues of climate change, which are brought to the discussion and explained how they interrelate, so that we are able to focus our attention to the real need, like climate issue changes. So this summit, we are so grateful as provincial administration, not only in those other lines, but also as a province, we are economically benefiting in terms of tourism in the region and in the city of Livingstone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let me start by correcting that Livingstone has been packed since last year, probably the fourth quarter of last year, where obviously as a ministry we had lined up a number of conferences, events, exhibitions happening in our town. And this obviously goes towards what we had indicated as a ministry, to say we are going to now pit MICE business as a draw card for people to understand where Livingstone is and what I like to call Destination Zambia per se. And the two specific destinations, or rather towns, that we've earmarked as a ministry is that of Lusaka and that of Livingstone as MICE venues. Now this obviously is in line with our decision as government to making sure that Zambia, a country that seems not to be known out there, will now use this particular conferences such as this one to be known. And I just wanted to confirm with you, based on what you mentioned, Livingstone has been a hive of activity, Lusaka has been a hive of activity, and little known Copper Belt has also been a hive of activity with regards to many meetings. This particular African Land Forces Summit is one of the summits for which within the year 2024 is only akin to that one where we had in Lusaka under the Public Health Institute. Now what we are seeing here today, colleagues, is a summit that has drawn close to 39 African countries, coupled with close to 300 delegates drawn from outside the continent as well. We all know that Zambia is co-hosting with the US government, and we're very delighted to that. And what this simply means, based even on their theme, regional solutions for transnational problems. Now that in itself speaks to what we're trying to do. His Excellency the President has been very categorical, and he says it, and I'll repeat, General Weasley mentioned, instability anywhere is instability everywhere. So we need to make sure that each particular country within our realm is safe. And remember, you might not understand that if there's any instability in any of our neighbors, a tourist from outside the continent will not be able to come here because anything can happen. And that's exactly what we're talking about. That's what we want to achieve here, to ensuring that each particular country in the world is safe. Once any country is safe, and that's why we, within the tourism world, I sit on the Executive Council of the UN Tourism, and what we're talking about here is we need to start designating countries as a safe destination, so that we know that at least, if for lack of a better example, we've been talking about anything within a 10,000 kilometer radius is safe for you to go to a particular destination. That in itself is what our colleagues here, the men and women in uniform, are trying to achieve. Regional solutions, which is Africa, of course, for transnational problems. Now, again, these men and women in uniform have also come on board to actually get to talk about the issues of drought. The prolonged drought that we're experiencing now will affect a lot of other things, including that of tourism. Why am I saying tourism? The more we don't have water, the more we don't have grass, the drawback that we have with respect to the wildlife here, you'll just be finding carcasses in most of our national parks. That is what the tourist wants to see, but we need to find solutions on how best we could manage this wildlife so that we are able to get tourists in. The Victoria Falls, the Musotunya, which we pride ourselves in, these guys had found a perfect time to host this summit because we knew that all things being equal, the mighty Victoria Falls and Musotunya could have been at its peak. But today, we're already seeing the effects of climate change. What is it that we can potentially do? So those are some of the things that we need to start finding solutions over with the help of our men and women in uniform and indeed any citizenry in our country. But my clarion call to the people of Zambia, residents of Lusaka, residents of Livingstone, is to take advantage of events such as this. There's no other time that you can actually capture business from these people than now. very important that if you look at the accommodation issues in Livingstone right now, for the last 3-4 months now, it's been increasingly difficult. Just this week, like my colleague here mentioned, this week we've been having professional bodies having meetings here. Accommodation still tops up. Now, the sentiments I get from my colleagues, they're saying, but if I'm going to build a lodge today, maybe tomorrow I'll have no business. But that's what business is all about. You take the risks. If you win, you win. If you lose, I mean, that's how business works. So you always have to try. Do not feel shy of trying. There's every opportunity. It could be restaurants, it could be bars, it could be activities, anything that you think the tourists will be able to access, do it. Now, this is my clarion call. When the bus leaves, do not be the one to start complaining that I was not invited, or rather, this is the only ticket that you have for ensuring that you work. His Excellency the President will be categorical. Let's work hard. We cannot make anything without working hard. So I'm very delighted that we're here today at the Redstone Resort. And again, if you look at the facility that we have here, this is a makeshift facility. Now, I want to publicly mention to you, the members of the media, that our Ministry of Tourism is just at the brink of striking a deal which will now see a close to 3,000 seat capacity convention center here in Livingstone. And that in itself would actually mean that we will need more bed spaces which will be occupied by warm bodies. That's what we want to see. So I've said it out in public, and that's for you to decipher what I'm saying, and I'm encouraging people, anybody who's entrepreneurial in mind, to start thinking of how best they could complement that convention center that we're about to build.
Minister.
From what I gather, I've been part of this organizing committee for a long period of time, and I think having a presence of officers or individuals in military fatigue sometimes can pose a bit of a challenge with certain individuals not knowing exactly what is going on. And I've actually instructed my team through our public media, which is ZNBC, to start talking about it, where, because I've seen, not only are we talking about the military fatigue, we're talking about even artillery. We've seen tankers being driven around here from Zambia Army and all these other things. Nothing to fear. This is just their tradition when they're having meetings such as this. The last meeting that was held, the Africa Land Forces Summit, was last held in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. It's the same thing. The other ones which were closer here, probably closer to Zambia, is that of Malawi, which they had probably like 3-4 meetings, summits ago. So there's nothing sinister about having people here. The 12th African Land Forces Summit is in Zambia, and we should be very delighted that it's in Zambia. And for the people of Livingstone, you should be happy that this particular summit has been held here in your community. So take advantage of the military being in here, and I am happy that the Honorable Minister of Defense did allude to the fact that the nightlife is good. So allow the soldiers. If I were a Livingstone resident, who I am, and a member of parliament, I actually feel more safe to being in Livingstone at the time. There's no safer place to be in Zambia together than Livingstone.
Minister, as we...
Fantastic, and I am glad that you asked that question. Not so long ago, if you were following what was happening in Livingstone, or just in Zambia, the special advisor to the General Secretary for the UNHCR, if I'm not mistaken, was here not so long ago. And again, the discussions that I had with her here in Livingstone, together with my colleague, Minister of Community Development, Honorable Doreen Mwamba, were the discussions of child trafficking with regards to tourism. And as you rightly mentioned, most people would like to use the conduit of tourism to actually traffic not only children, but even individuals themselves. But we, from the global perspective, from the UN tourism perspective, we have had serious discussions as to how we can curb that particular vice. And I totally agree with you. It's one of these channels that maybe we may not have paid attention to, not only in Zambia, but in the rest of the world, to see how best we could play a role in Zambia. So the more, I probably want to say, damned if you do it, damned if you don't. If you don't increase your numbers for tourism, then you don't contribute to your government's GDP. But when you increase it, definitely you contribute. But what happens, like you rightly mentioned, it opens up other opportunities for criminals to actually start thinking aloud. So we have been in talks with my colleague Minister of Community Development, my colleague Minister for Home Affairs and Internal Security, and other relevant government institutions which are speaking to how best we could curb human trafficking through tourism. There's a paper that I could share with you, which obviously Zambia is party to, which we assented to as a government, to ensuring that even at immigration, sometimes our tourists would complain when we ask them pertinent questions with regards to if at all they are traveling with an unaccompanied minor, quote unquote, or a minor who may have been with two people and then the other person did not consent. Those are very difficult issues to deal with, but those are done with the strictest interest of safeguarding trafficking, and I think the tourists should be able to understand that on that score.
You did highlight the fact of climate change affecting all of us and tourism in particular. As Minister of Tourism, how can we best market Zambian tourism even under the circumstances of a drought?
Well, I think, like I mentioned, if you look at how the drought effect has been, it's more generalized within the southern part of Africa, southern part of Zambia. But then we all know that there are other certain areas where we can take our tourists. Over and above what is called our iconic Musotunya Victoria Falls, where we say tourist town, that has been affected. So essentially, it's very important that we deal with that matter for starters. But anywhere else outside Livingstone is still okay. Lower Zam, South Luangwa, North Park, we're still okay. Lusaka is generally okay. But I think the biggest challenge that we have with this drought is about people. What is important, our biggest asset in the tourism sector is the people. These are the people who may be affected with the drought by way of not having food to feed their children, by not having money to take their children to school, and all those other things. So it's very important that as we get to markets, as we go to market our tourism, we should be able to tell the rest of the world to say, look, we're affected by the drought. So any humanitarian effort that they could render is something that is welcome. His Excellency the President was on TV just last week, calling upon the international community rather, to support our need for humanitarian assistance. That is what is what we like to call human capital. If our people are unable to go to work because they were looking for food, they will affect this business. Remember, the hospitality sector is about having more boys and girls on the floor. This particular summit has actually gotten our boys extremely busy. Now you can imagine this individual will not be able to stand here if at all they know that at home their child has not eaten. That is something that greatly affects people. But as government, we're working towards making sure that our communities are fed in this time of drought.
Okay.